Beverly Hills because there's so much going on here, so much to unload. All these rumors about this gentleman, Patrick Summers, attending the Real Housewives reunion. He's allegedly taking responsibility for these bots attacking Garcelle's 14-year-old son. He has recently posted that he outed Lisa Rinna to the network and that she is no longer going to be an employee of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, an employee of Bravo. So we need to talk about all of this, guys. That's why I decided to do a live today. So go ahead, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. The likes definitely help, and turn those notifications on so you guys don't miss anything that we're talking about. So let's go ahead and get started. Patrick Summers is the gentleman who came out and said that Kathy Hilton had hired him and that he was and then he wasn't the assistant, then he was allegedly, working for Lisa, and he's played both sides to this, none of us really being able to pinpoint exactly what his employment is, I guess. Hi guys, hi Groovy, hi Mia, I'm so glad you guys could make it. Hi LA, we are talking Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Lisa Rinna. We're talking about Patrick Summers saying that he's now going to be at the reunion that he was allegedly asked. But we're hearing from Bravo execs, somebody that works for BuzzFeed, and I think Page 6 has reported that this is actually not the case, that it's been confirmed through a Bravo rep that he is not asked to the reunion, and that Lisa Rinna is currently still employed with Bravo, but that would of course make sense because they haven't even filmed the reunion yet. So of course she's still in her contract. That doesn't mean that they're going to renew her contract. We kind of don't know what to believe. Patrick Summers also posted a conversation between Kathy and himself, and it was very weird because, he says, "Hey Kathy, can I call you?" Or he says like, "Hey Kathy, it's Patrick, can I call you?" And she says, "I've been doxxed. I accidentally, texted out my phone number." Because he's like, "Can I call you so I don't have to, I have a lot to talk about and I don't want to type out all these paragraphs." And she replies and says, "You can't call me, I've been doxxed." And she basically asked for proof of life. And when I say proof of life, I mean that she asked for him to basically type somewhat of a conversation so that she could confirm that it was him. That's at like the very bottom of the messages, if you're able to catch those on Instagram or Twitter. If not, I will definitely try to upload those to the YouTube section of my channel so that you guys can take a look at them. But now, like I said, Bravo execs has said this is not the case, that Patrick actually is not going to be at the reunion. But besides that, Lisa Rinna also went on to Instagram and did a video. Did you guys see the video that Lisa Rinna did? She basically was saying that isn't this so strange that this happened, the same exact thing happened for Vanderpump Rules, and now it's happening to me, and it seems like there's a narrative being ran here. And she was just not, she's not making friends with production at all. Seriously, she's just not. I want to read to you guys what she wrote. Now, this is what Patrick's actually posted on his Instagram story, and he says that Lisa Rinna is lying, and she's corresponding with different I would say like bloggers on Instagram. I know CC Loves You is one of the sites that they correspond with a lot of the Bravo celebrities, but there was some correspondence between Lisa Rinna and that site. And then this site she was messaging back and forth with is something Reality 16. Now listen to what she says, guys. She says, "Now that I've seen this play out, I think you are right. I think Patrick and possibly Kathy in some way are behind this to try and take us down before the Aspen episode airs. It reeks of LVP, I have to say." Then her last message says, "Also interesting that you were the one to send all of this to me. You brought this to my attention. I couldn't open up what you sent, remember?" She says, "I gotta say that this is very odd since you and I don't really communicate, and now I see you have posted quite a bit about this. You tell me what's going on here." Because another thing that had everyone very suspicious is that Lisa doesn't have anything about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on her profile. Now, she claims she never, ever had anything saying that she was on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on her Twitter or on her Instagram. So that can't really be confirmed or denied. She did make a statement saying that this is what she said. There was all these photos that were allegedly deleted from her Instagram account. Lots and lots of photos, and a lot of them affiliated with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And they were deleted. Fans recently noticed because, of course, you can't get anything past us. I mean, if it weren't for fans, we probably wouldn't even know that these troll farms were the people who was harassing Jax, because obviously production didn't give enough F's to do their own investigation. So, I mean, leave it to us to figure it out and basically do their job for them. We vet all of these housewives for them as well, because half the time we're uncovering things about these housewives that production either looked the other way or they just didn't know about. Lisa Rinna says, this is what she's saying about all of the photos being missing from her Instagram. She said, I never had Real Housewives of Beverly Hills anywhere on my Instagram in my profile. And I've recently edited my Instagram page for fashion, fun, and family. I took away 8,000 photos. I did that about 3 weeks ago. If you go and look, there's still housewife stuff on there from the reunion, from the wine scene in Province, and dancing in Province. The end, period. Like, she was kind of bitchy about it. Sorry, guys, the sun's, like, killing me. I gotta turn here a little bit. Yeah, she's just not making friends. She's very rude. Her messages on Instagram are not very nice. So we have that. That's her explanation, allegedly, for why we don't see the Real Housewives on her Instagram and why there's all these missing photos. Now, that does make a little bit of sense because she did have that lawsuit over these photos, and some other news outlet publicist was actually suing her for the rights to photos that were hers or his or some crazy. So maybe it's possible that she went on and deleted photos because of the court issues, but I don't really know. Now, also, it's important to remember, now this was in an article. Listen, she's really actually blaming LVP. Like, she's really bringing LVP into all of this. Poor LVP has been so quiet. She's been celebrating her 40th wedding anniversary. She's been really just living her best life, and between Teddy coming for her on the podcast, denying it, and then making an official apology at the beginning of her podcast, which was very generic. Did any of you guys hear Teddy's apology to LVP? It was very, very generic. She was reading it. It was definitely written for her, and I think she just did it to try to appease fans. But neither here nor there. Lisa Vanderpump is unfortunately being brought into all of this drama because Lisa is saying that this reeks of LVP. Like, this is her thing, right? Because they accused her of selling stories to the press. This says, Renna was explicit behind the scenes. I received a copy of messages Renna exchanged with content creator at Face Reality 16 on Instagram days prior to releasing her own video. Now, he's referencing the video where she put it on Instagram. She's kind of laying in bed and she's talking about how weird the timing is, that all of this is transpiring before the Aspen trip, and how this is exactly what happened in Vanderpump Rules before, you know, the whole racist and everyone was fired, and she's just really putting this on production, LVP, in that direction, right? So the conversation that I read to you guys was what she had DM'd to Face Reality 16. Now, Face Reality 16 suggested to Renna that Notorious Housewives friend of, in his own mind, Patrick Summers, right? Because he's made himself a friend of, we don't know a friend of Kathy or a friend of Lisa, but he's a friend of, was behind the drama, and Renna agreed. Because when they also suggested the possibility that Kathy Hilton and even former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Lisa Vanderpump were behind the attack as a way to distract from whatever happens in Aspen. Why Lisa Vanderpump would feel motivated to do so, considering she is friendly with Garcelle and employs the oldest son at Vanderpump Cocktail Garden in Las Vegas. So it doesn't make really sense for LVP to be a part of this because she obviously likes Garcelle, and I've done videos and spoke to you guys many times about Oliver. We know that he is in his 30s and he is in recovery, thank God, and he works hard for LVP. She gave him a chance, and he really seems to be blossoming in Vegas and really doing a great job. We saw photos of Auntie Sutton made a visit to Las Vegas and stopped in to see Oliver, and she took a photo and posted it. And it was very, very endearing, and it was very, very different than the way someone made a really great point on Twitter, and I wish I could give them credit, but they said like it was very different the way Sutton posted a photo from Auntie Sutton versus the way that Cherie Zampino and Erika spoke about him, how they wanted to F him, and Erika wanted to have a throuple and have your baby mama DM me, like all this crazy shit. And Sutton, who, you know, we're seeing that like Sutton's classy lady. I feel like she's a classy lady, and she posted a really classy photo saying like Auntie Sutton to Oliver. And it's just an example of where Erika and Cherie, you know, should be. Like they're in their 50s. You know, Erika's in her 50s, guys. Talking about wanting to F Garcelle's son. Like, I feel bad for Garcelle. I really do. I feel like she is just taking a bad hit with all of this. And then I also think that with Patrick Summers coming out and allegedly taking blame, he's like saying he's taking blame for all of this because he runs this company that you know, helps the algorithm of Instagram. Basically, people pay them to help their algorithm comment, like on their posts. It helps get them, you know, more, I guess, people to see their stuff. But also, like, you don't hire troll farms and bots for people that you like. So it wouldn't make sense that, like, they're not a good company just because they help the algorithm. They also probably harass and, you know, put hateful comments on people's accounts all day too. So I don't know, guys. It kind of makes it deter because, like, now everyone's looking at Patrick Summers instead of actually trying to find out who did it, because we have to do our own work because we can't count on Bravo execs to do anything or production. So Bravo fans are out here doing all of the legwork. And I think that Patrick coming out has really kind of confused everyone and kind of slowed down our investigation, if you will, into who's responsible for all of these bot farms, troll farms, whatever you want to call them, for harassing Jax online. And somebody else had a great question, and if any of you guys can answer this, please leave it in the comments. They said, why do we think that they hired the bots to only go after Jax? Was it because the other twin wasn't, you know, no one's, like, he wasn't part of the scene, like Erika didn't interact with him, like there was no interaction with him, so they just excluded him? Or is he really not on Instagram and has, like, maybe a private account? Because we're just seeing the harassment really gauged towards Jax, not even towards Garcelle. It's more for Jax, and that's so sad. Like, on top of the hate, and this is where I think people, like, get confused, is like, you know, okay, people get hate all the time, right? They get hateful comments and they have to deal with it, and they have to deal with, like, the press and the attention. But these were racist comments on top of that. So I just feel like that is worse. It makes it worse than just plain hate being spewed at you. Now it's racist hate fueled by racism, and it's disheartening. And I hope that we're able to find who is responsible for all of this, even though I think that if we follow the money, it's probably going to lead us to Beverly Hills. I would say my money is probably going to be on Lisa Rinna. I'm going to say she made the moves, but I'm going to say Diana paid for it. And I think that they brought Erika along, like they needed to make sure they had reinforcement. So three is stronger, like they're stronger in numbers. So it's just like Lisa and Erika, they're stronger in numbers if they have Diana, and Diana is stronger if she has them, right? And so they all can back each other up. Ben says, so was Lisa Rinna really fired? Well, no, we're hearing that she was not fired. There was a Bravo, someone who's affiliated with Bravo and the BuzzFeed came out and said that it was verified through Bravo execs that Lisa Rinna was not fired. But here's the thing, she's in contract right now and they still have to do the reunion. So technically she would be staying employed until they do the reunion. They're not going to fire her before the reunion. She's still in her contract. But we know what happens when Bravo doesn't want you back anymore. And Sherelle's world, Sherelle was one of the ones who taught us this, right? And it's so important that remember that Bravo doesn't fire anyone, they just give you really shitty contracts. So technically, I don't know if we'll see her fired or not, but she might just get a really, really shitty contract, or like a friend of, and just, you know, they'll be paying her barely nothing to do it. That's always a possibility. Lisa's not been good at production, and I don't think production's really been that terrible to her. Like, they didn't dedicate a whole episode to her mother Lois, and she seemed greatly offensive that there wasn't much shown about her mom, but there was a lot. There was a lot of talk about it. We talked about it all season, and not to mention that we've talked about Dorit's robbery all season, so I think that it's not fair to try to put that on production. Like, Lisa should have brought more this season. She didn't bring a storyline. We haven't seen the girls. You know, Harry, we know that Harry and Lisa have their own contract together, okay? And personally, I believe that Lisa contracts Harry to, like, he has to film at least three times during the season. They have their own little things that they do for each other to keep the persona, to keep the illusion of a married couple going. So, he, does what he needs to do socially when they're in LA and out and about. Probably why her speech looked so uncomfortable at his birthday. I just posted a clip to my shorts if you guys check it out. We've seen Lisa slip up over the years several times about Harry basically living in Canada permanently. Now, whatever his sexual orientation or preference is not even really relevant, because we know he's up there cheating. It doesn't matter if he's cheating with a man or a woman. The man is cheating. He has relationships with these people in Canada. Away from Lisa Rinna, they are not in a, loving, wonderful relationship like she's trying to sell us on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, right? So I think, again, there's like social obligations that Harry likes to have a wife on his arm, and they play the part, and so Lisa does for him, and then, when it's time to film, she makes sure that he's available several different times so that at least he makes it into the episode, so that, again, she's selling it to the public that they're together. But the clip is talking about how Harry will fly from Canada to Beverly Hills and then back to Canada, and then not back to Beverly Hills, like just back to Canada. We saw that clip is on my shorts if you guys want to check it out. Then we also saw another time that Lisa slipped up. It was actually when she was talking to Delilah. And Delilah said something about the dad, Harry, coming over for dinner, like coming over to their house for dinner. It was awkward. It was awkward for viewers because everyone was like, wait, what? She just said that her dad came over for dinner? That's strange. Like, isn't that a little strange? So we've heard it. She's been on the show long enough. And when people are like not telling the truth, sometimes they accidentally slip up when they're comfortable. She's been on the show for a long time. She's a little bit more comfortable. So she slips up here and there, and just proving that she's not telling the truth. And I think that a lot of what they were trying to do with these bot farms, the whole purpose was to change public perspective, because of the fact that Bravo does listen and take a look to see what fans are saying. I think a lot of the times when we see like these like surveys and questions and stuff, sometimes that's Bravo putting that stuff out because they want to know what public opinion is. And that's what they do. And Lisa knows that. Lisa Rinna knows that. And that's why it was so important for them, specifically Erika, Lisa, and Diana, to get together in cahoots as, stronger in numbers, purchase this bot farm through Lisa Rinna's people. I'm sure that Lisa said, no one will find out. I've been using this guy for forever, Diana. She probably even had a finder's fee. I wouldn't even doubt if like maybe it cost like say 8,500, and so Lisa probably told Diana it was 10,000 so that she could make a cut, you know, so that she could make a little bit of money. I would like not be surprised at all if that happened, because that's the kind of person that Lisa Rinna is. Like, she will take a finder's fee for sure. I also want to talk to you guys a little bit about Jen Shah too. I don't know if you guys are interested in talking about this, but she did go on her Instagram and she made a statement about Guess the Housewife. Did you guys see this? Allegedly, her and Lisa Barlow are not getting along, and the fact that Jen Shah allegedly may go away. We don't know, this could be her last reunion for a while. Just like when Teresa filmed her reunion before she went to prison, she even said herself, like, I didn't think I was going to ever come back. Like, I didn't think I would be back on this stage. I didn't know what was going to happen. And so I'm sure Jen Shah is having a lot of those same emotions. But she's doing something that we all should be excited for, whether you like Jen Shah or not. She's spilling tea because she has 0 F's to give, because she's like, I'm going to prison. What do I care? I'm going to tell everything I know. People are leaving the room. I don't know. Is it Jen Shah? Is that why? Anyways, let's just go over really quickly what she posted. She said, let's play Who Did That? Real Housewives of Salt Lake City edition. Number 1, political. I'm not one way or the other, guys, just reading the statement. She said, number 1, donated to Ted Cruz for president campaign 4 times. Number 2, said there are different types of black people. For example, black people from Compton are different from black people from Salt Lake City. Side note, my husband is from Compton. Number 3, said, oh my God, you look just like Mona from the Disney movie. Your people have the coolest hair. Can I touch it? Number 4, told me I should not talk about my mental health on the show or say I use medication for depression because it will be used against me. And number 5, called my son the N-word. Number 6, said not to be racist or anything, but I like the big black one best. So I just want to know what your guys' comments are on Jen Shah. Do you guys want to hear more about her trial, about what's happening, about what she is looking to expect if she is sentenced to prison, if she's going to be sentenced to a long prison stint? I also want to talk about Melissa Gorga, guys, before we cut this short. I should do a separate video, but we can just talk here. I'm going to upload a video later about it. There's so much going on with Melissa and Joe Gorga right now. It's insane. Like, Twitter just, it's like the gift that doesn't keep giving. Everyone continues to report on it. The VMAs were a couple of days ago, and we saw Melissa and Joe. They were posting it. They were in the car, and a lot of people accusing Melissa of stealing Teresa's reunion look, because she's like in a jumpsuit, like a real, it's like a shiny jumpsuit. It's not the same as Teresa's, but it's a little bit similar. Melissa posted footage of her and Joe in the car on their way, and how they were practicing Joe's smile. I think that Melissa thinks she is smarter than all of the Gorgas together. It's just like the feeling that I get, and I feel like sometimes she's like embarrassed of him when it comes to like paparazzi and events and stuff, because Joe likes to be funny and he's loud and he likes to be seen, and I just think she's like embarrassed of him, and she was like giving him the rundown of like the do's and don'ts of the red carpet of the VMAs. Like, don't embarrass me and don't try too hard. Less is more. Those were the things he was repeating that she had told him. And so to me, it sounded like she was, giving him what he can and cannot do on the red carpet, and she was doing it behind the scenes, which is what I tell you guys all the time. Melissa is working hard behind the scenes when it comes to her husband, okay? She is. They've been married a long time, and Melissa is smart, and men can sometimes be easily manipulated or blinded by the, whatever you want to call it, okay? I'm just saying, it can happen. And I just think a lot of the times she's making a lot of moves behind the scenes. Now, we've heard, I had heard that Margaret and Joe B were the only 2 people actually associating with the Gorgas, but then we had a source Freddie also commented on my story from a couple of days ago and said that, everyone was pretty much upset with Joe and Melissa, including Margaret and Joe, and that Melissa and Joe were upset about them all going to Teresa's wedding. However, we saw Jackie and Melissa and another female having drinks together. Melissa posted this a couple of days ago, so she must be okay with Jackie. I think that Melissa was scared she was going to be iced out. I also saw a recent article where Melissa said she wants to put the whole wedding fiasco behind them, as in behind her, Joe, and Teresa and Louis, put everything in the past and move forward. This coming from Melissa. Now, get this. This cracked me up, guys. I'm not trying to be a tree hugger today, but Melissa put... Okay, we talked about Melissa's podcast, I don't know, like, when was it? A couple of weeks ago, she came right out with her podcast where she interviewed her husband, Joe Gorga, gave us lots and lots of tea, and basically their perspective and opinion on what happened with the entire altercation and why Joe and Melissa were, sorry, that was a bee, it scared me, why Joe and Melissa were not at the wedding, right? Because Melissa has this podcast, and it's not necessarily like one that comes out steady every week, I would say, or even every other week maybe. I haven't heard a lot of different guests on her show, so it's so funny because she had Joe on like a couple of months ago, and now we have Teresa starting a podcast, and I really think it's going to be like battle of the podcast, because I think that Melissa has kind of created this platform where she can really speak and tell her side of the story, which you can't do when you're filming. Obviously, editing is going to, you're not privy to how things are going to air and how the narrative goes. So since she has her own podcast, she can really give the details to her side of the story. And so Teresa's caught on to that, and she's like, you know what? Checkmate. I'm going, and I'm going to start me a little podcast. But Teresa may have done something a little bit more business savvy than Melissa, because she got a host, and the host is relatively popular and has a following already. And so that will be great for Teresa, because they can kind of navigate and lead the conversations, and if it's been too much, move on to a different subject, and they can kind of just keep things flowing. Also, it'll give more content, more guests, etc., etc. Whereas Melissa's, like I said, it just kind of seems like whenever she wants to do a podcast, she does a podcast, and that's basically it. Speaking of that, her new guest on her podcast, the new guest is, drum roll please, I wish I could insert a drum roll here. She said, my next guest on the podcast, hashtag on display, is Joe Gorga, your fave, heart. Give me topics and questions to talk to him about. So, her next guest is Joe Gorga. It fuels the fire. It fuels the fire because of the fact that Melissa makes headlines about when she's talking about Teresa. We don't really see Melissa and Joe in the headlines a whole lot unless it has to do with Teresa. We'll see little things here and there about their house, or something about Envy, opening or sale or some outfit, whatever. We see that stuff, but we don't see mainstream, even Page 6, TMZ, none of that, unless it's they're fighting really bad. So I think that's where people get frustrated with Joe and Melissa, because they do love them, and we've been watching them for years and years, and we have grown up with them just like we've watched Teresa's family grow up. But it's just a different dynamic, even with their children. I don't know why, but I think because we saw the girls be so vulnerable, and they were on camera so much when everything transpired, especially when Joe and Teresa went to prison, that we love them and want to see good for them, even though we don't even know them. But we seek good for them, and I don't feel I feel that same way for Melissa and Joe's kids. And I think Antonia is the most gorgeous girl in the entire world. She's beautiful, but we just haven't really seen a lot of her as a child. Maybe that's why. Maybe Joe and Teresa and all of their legal issues just overshadowed stuff that Melissa and Joe had going on, and so they just kind of fell into the co-host support type of people. That's like their roles, right? So I don't know, guys. I want to know what you think. I'm trying to find my comments here, and I don't know why they're not popping up. Here we go. Let's read some comments. I think both Teresa and Melissa need to go, except I'm not sure what storyline they'd go with without either of them. Great point. Who else wants? I didn't get to see the rest of that. I wanted to talk to you guys also. I want you to comment. Let me know what you think about New Jersey, what you guys think's going on. We have the whole dilemma between Margaret and Laura as well. Laura is the housewife, who's not a housewife, who is friends of. Ben says, who else wants to hear Kenya's input about Teresa and Melissa's drama? Remember how close Kenya and Melissa were on the Ultimate Girls Trip. Actually, Ben, I think Kenya and Teresa were close. Kenya went to Teresa's wedding. Yes, because remember, Kenya won the gift, which was when they were on the Ultimate Girls Trip, they had a competition. The winner won a 4-day, 3-night stay at that villa, again, in Turks and Caicos. And Kenya won, and she gave the trip to Teresa. And Teresa was so touched that they became instant besties, right? Kenya was definitely at Teresa's wedding, and you guys probably don't remember, but whenever they got home from their trip, Teresa actually sent a gorgeous little Gucci bathing suit for Brooklyn, Kendall's daughter, or Kenya, not Kendall, Kenya's daughter. Yeah, she sent her a Gucci bathing suit as soon as they came home from Turks and Caicos. And Teresa just talked so good about Kenya and how she felt like no one had done anything like that for her. And even her cast and her fellow castmates, she says she never felt like any of them would have done anything like that for her. So for Kenya to do it, she said it just touched her heart so much and just made her just fall in love with Kenya immediately. So they are a strange duo, I have to say. I just wouldn't expect Kenya and Teresa to bond like they did, but I think it's awesome because they're fan favorites, right? Kenya is a fan favorite. Yeah, so that's Ben. And Groovy said Teresa's not going anywhere. Joan said Kelly Dodd said that Melissa Gorga was pretty snobby when she met. She wasn't friendly at all. You are correct. Kelly Dodd did say that about Melissa Gorga. Kelly Dodd speaks very highly of Teresa, and she says she's met her several times. She's been so nice, so friendly. However, she said the several times that she's ran into Melissa at any sort of events, Melissa would never go and say hello first. Melissa wants you to come and say hello. And Kelly Dodd says she was very, very, very snobby, which I could see that. This says, I forgot about the gift. Good point. I just remember Melissa being all about Kenya when the Ultimate Girls Trip started. I think Melissa was probably going to try to team up with Kenya. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that housewives know, who has status within their franchise. And Kenya has status in Real Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah, on Ultimate Girls Trip, Melissa and Kenya were close. So let's see here. I met Teresa when I was at the airport once. She was so nice. Really? I love that. That is so nice. I love that. Yeah, I always hear that Teresa is really nice. Bravo and Blaze, Jenny from Bravo and Blaze, she actually went and met Teresa at a book signing, and she was late. She was the last one there, and she said Teresa was so lovely, so kind, took so many photos. Let's see here, what else we got. Kelly Dodd, exactly. What do you guys think about Beverly Hills, though? What do you think about Lisa Rinna? Is she on the chopping block? Is she coming back next season? Who is Patrick Summers? Can somebody please figure out who Patrick Summers is? Who he really is? What he really does? If he owned this bot farm, this troll farm in Indonesia or China somewhere, wouldn't we have known that from the first investigation, from the first background check we did on him? Didn't any of us run a background check on him? I know we had to. The first account that ever first made contact with Patrick Summers is an account by Your Mom is Watching. That's what her account is called. And she's great. She's a 10,000 following. She's super humble. She goes on shows all the time. Do you really think he's going to be at the reunion? I do not think that he's going to be at the reunion. I think that he is put in play to confuse everyone on what's going on. And I don't know who put him up to it. It could either be Bravo producers themselves. They could be in cahoots with Kathy Hilton together to try to, make this go down as good as possible. We talked about the fact that Beverly Hills, the own production, was insulted about Kathy Hilton's racist comments, and so they didn't want to go along with Bravo to cover it up, and therefore they were the ones that actually originally released this information into the press. And once it was out in the press, then Lisa Rinna commented on it, and that's how we got the ball rolling to find out what had happened in Aspen. I find it very interesting, guys. If you go on Instagram, you can watch the first 6 minutes of the new Real Housewives of Beverly Hills coming out tomorrow. We're going to see a scene between Garcelle and Diana. Diana's going to come to Garcelle's house. She's going to be so hungover that she has her jumpsuit on backwards. Completely backwards. So strange. So strange that she wouldn't change. I don't know. It's just, why would, okay, it's like funny, haha, funny. Laugh when she comes in and she has her jumpsuit on backwards because she's hungover, she claims. But it seems like it'd take like 5 minutes to go in the restroom and like change and put it on, right? I don't know. That's just me. But I thought that was really strange. Then they start to talk about the fact that Sutton is hindering everyone's friendship with Garcelle because if it weren't for, if it weren't for Sutton, she would be much more open with Garcelle, and they wouldn't be able to be there laughing and talking like they are now if Sutton was there, and just on and on and on. I think the girls are threatened by their friendship because they're strong, they're loyal to each other, and we don't see this in the Housewives world. We do not actually ever see real loyalty very often, guys. Like, we always see people saying that they're loyal to one another, and then they'll show a confessional of them talking shit. Like, it's just kind of Real Housewives business. It's how they operate. However, I don't know, they're very, very loyal to each other, and the other women are very, very threatened by that. I think that Dorit and Kyle are kind of in the middle here because they don't want to smear their reputation, and they don't want to get their hands dirty. So they're kind of just playing Switzerland a little bit, I feel like they're gonna reap the benefits of all of this anyways. So if they can just sit back and let it roll and not comment on it, then it's gonna work out fine for them, and I think that's really their perspective. Anyways, we're gonna see Diana telling Garcelle how she's like, I have to get a hotel room when we go to Aspen. And Garcelle's like, why would you get a hotel room? Like, we have this $10 million mansion that Mauricio has set up for us, and we're going to be staying there. Why wouldn't you stay there? And Diana just like busts up laughing. She laughs like she's like, I don't even want to say the word, like she's like high, like she's high, and she's just happy, and she's just, I don't even know, like high off like THC, but maybe like just, I don't know, she's just very, I don't even know the word, just giggling and kind of falling all over the place and telling Garcelle how she's so strange when she travels. She sends people ahead of her, right? This is so funny, guys, because don't forget that she has been crying to TMZ and Page 6 that she's had to get full-time security 24/7 because of the death threats, because of this whole Garcelle and, troll farm situation. However, she tells us in this scene that she sends people ahead of her to her hotel room. And we saw this when they were in Palm Springs. Do you guys remember that they showed the crew coming to her hotel room prior to her arriving, and they said something along the lines about there being windows, or something about how Diana didn't like to sit with a window behind her or an open door, something along those lines. But either way, her staff is very well of what her expectations are for wherever she is staying, and they may not tell us what those are, but they know what those instructions are and what those things Diana is requesting that she needs. And so they go through and basically have a checklist that they run off of what is in the hotel room, and if it's going to meet the standards of Diana or not, right? So it just doesn't make any sense that now you would hire 24-hour security. Like, if you're flying people to check out your hotel room before you are, then you have security, lady. That, I mean, what else would you call that? Let's also talk about the fact she basically said, she calls it Ghostbusters. She says, I send people ahead of me to cleanse the room, burn incense and fragrances to clear the energy. And I'm thinking, like, I'm about to sign the F up to do that, because I could do that. I can definitely burn whatever kind of incense you need to cleanse your home, Diana. Like, where do you need me to fly to? Like, that's a lot of money, guys, to fly people to your host wherever you're going ahead of time, inspecting the room, getting all of your things there for you. It's just wild how she travels like this and then tries to come out and say all of a sudden she's getting security. I just don't buy it. I think she's had security 24/7. I think everyone knows that, and I think that's why the other housewives haven't really commented about Diana. They don't want to touch it. She's hot right now, if you will. Yeah, I just think she is trying to, again, play victim to the situation by saying, poor me, I have to get security 24/7. My life's been threatened. My children's lives have been threatened. When the lady runs, like, in politics, like, with, like, the president of Bosnia, okay? Like, she bailed him out. The president of Bosnia. Like, if you're messing with these sort of political people, you have security with you, right? Especially if you're doing anything problematic, which that's what she claims she does, is helps people and stands up for people and stands up against, fights for human rights, allegedly. So it just seems to me that you would probably, if you were doing good, you would be making a lot of enemies along the line, and you would have security. And this lady is selling us some bullshit when she says all of a sudden she just now had to get security. I don't buy it for 1 second. She's always had security. 1,000%. Just like how she told us a couple of episodes ago when Asher was playing on the piano, and she was like, my favorite time at home is whenever he forgets I'm here and plays like, nobody's home. And I, walk in and catch him. And it's like, lady, he didn't forget you were home. Did he forget the whole camera crew and production wasn't there as well? Like, you're trying to sell us this man and his music and his record. And it's very apparent why you're on the show is to promote Asher. I mean, as soon as he did the Christmas episode, she posted an album on her Instagram, Asher's album. So he already had an album ready to go, which is so strange because she didn't really talk about the album on the show, and I don't know if that's because she would have to give a percentage to Housewives if she mentioned it. So let's take some comments. The scenes at Diana's house were very staged, nothing genuine going on about there. Guys, I also got some gossip about Diana, and I think it kind of got pushed to the side a couple of weeks ago because of all of this drama with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But the details I had for you guys was that Diana's son, this just popped into my head. This is tea, guys. Diana's son is dating Damon Dash's daughter, right? Asha or Ash. Okay, whatever her name is, that is who she's dating, and we saw them at the Christmas party. But we've seen her before, guys. Do you know where we've seen her before? We saw her because she's Crystal's nanny. She was shown in a couple of episodes, I think last season. Last name Dash, same girl, and she is titled by Bravo. In the background, she's like playing with the kids as Crystal's nanny, and they say her name is Ash Dash, right? Because Damon Dash is her father, and so she is Diana's son's girlfriend. And she's also Crystal's nanny, Crystal Minkoff. Isn't that weird? The tangled webs that these people live, because it is a small town. I'm telling you guys, Beverly Hills is very small. It's not big. There's like 2 high schools. It's not like you think of, and you think LA, but it's not like that. Like, everyone knows everyone's business there. And it just kind of shows you guys, like, they keep a tight circle. Like, people with money, they don't just let anyone in, okay? Um, I don't know. I think that's really, really weird in a way, because it's like, how good of friends are Diana and Crystal, and we don't even see it on the show, because, like, she came on as, like, best friends with Kathy Hilton. I don't know. It's just like production's made a mess. Marcia says, well, Crystal and Diana are friends as well. That could be the connection. Absolutely. Um, for sure. But it's just like, showing that they just keep it within the family. They keep it in a group of, people that have money in that area. And that's probably how they roll, right? I'm sure that she probably isn't like their nanny. She probably like babysits here and there or whatever, and they just labeled her the nanny instead of the babysitter because it sounded more prestigious, maybe. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like Crystal and her husband have like much staff, like doing much in their home. Like, they have the housekeeper that we see Crystal make the little videos and drinks and food with, but we don't see anyone else, and we didn't see her serving them when Kathy Hilton was there, because Kathy was asking for something to drink and crackers and cheese, right? Someone just made a comment, I didn't see who it was. You said, however, you don't see them connecting on the show, and that is a great point. Why don't we see them connecting on the show? Like, why is it hidden? Like, not hidden, but also not just made out in the open. Like, oh, this is Diana's, son's girlfriend, and she's also our babysitter or our nanny. It's just weird. I just think that's weird to me. Maybe you guys don't think it's weird. You guys know I put my opinion in a little bit more when we have the lives, but I definitely have the photo. I took a screenshot from the episode where they showed Damon Dash's daughter and list her as Crystal's nanny, and then of course we see at the Christmas party. What else did I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, Dorit is going to be in a scene with Kyle. They're going to be going down the road. It's going to be the day after this big party that they have. And we're going to see Dorit and Kyle. They said that they wrapped up filming that night, and then they headed over to the Polo Club. Now, the Polo Club is important, and if you're in Beverly Hills, you know why, because it is actually in the Beverly Hills Hotel. Now, Kyle and Kim Richards have a long relationship with the Polo Club because that's where their mother used to get tanked, and she had her own booth, and she drank at the Polo Club all the time. Every day, they said. It was like clockwork. This is Kyle and Kim's mother, Big Kathy, and she would run up a tab, and when it was time to leave, she would look for a man to, take care of business, if you will, and take care of her tab as well. We know that this is what transpired there because we've heard it multiple times, but when Kim was arrested, it was after she did the show, Kim was arrested. Well, I don't know if she was arrested per se, but she was kind of arrested, and she was arrested at the Polo Club, which is the bar that I'm talking about, because what had happened was she had had a drink at her daughter's house, and she was on her way home, and she got upset, and she was close to the Polo Club, the Polo Lounge in Beverly Hills, and so she decided to park and go in, right? And when she goes in, she ends up getting very drunk, and she gets very emotional about her mother because their mother drank there all the time. That was her spot. That was her watering hole. Beverly Hills Hotel, the Polo Lounge. So Kim gets very emotional. She gets very upset. And mind you, her ex-in-laws own the Beverly Hills. They are very, very wealthy. Very, very, very wealthy. Kim goes into the restroom. She's drunk, and she is crying, and now she won't come out of the restroom, right? And I don't know if they called anyone. I don't know if they didn't know who she was. I don't know what happened, but somehow somebody called the police because she wouldn't come out of the restroom. I don't know if it was time to go. I don't know if it was time to pay the bill and she didn't have the money. I don't know what it was, but regardless, the police were called and they had to handcuff her and take her out of that restroom. And she claims when she went on Dr. Phil, she basically had an emotional breakdown. Like, she started drinking and she started remembering and thinking about her mom. And it just really seems like their mom did a lot of damage. They love their mom very much, but at the same time, I think they must have had a very dysfunctional relationship Why is Kyle always referencing her childhood and being forced? I'm sorry, I didn't see the rest of that comment. Damn it. I wanted to see live. All messages are visible. Sorry, I wanted to see that last comment. Jay says, why is Kyle always referring to her childhood and being forced to grow up so quickly and drive places at 10 years old? Like she thinks it sounds cool, but obviously it's outrageous. They are very obsessed with their mom and obsessed with their childhood. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's so dysfunctional. I just watched the clip of Kyle and Kim in the limo when they got in that huge fight and Kyle called her an alcoholic and Kim said, you sold my goddamn house. And then I watched, the confessionals afterwards, and Kim, supported their whole family because she was like a child star, and the mother moved them from Oklahoma or Nebraska. I forget which state it was. She was married to Kim and Kyle's father. They were little girls, and she said, I want to move to Beverly Hills, and I'm going to make them famous. So they picked the whole family up, her daughter, Kathy, who has a different father, everyone, and they moved to Beverly Hills, right? And so she was like basically a stage mom on steroids. Stage mom before there were stage moms, right? And so she starts auditioning the children and everything, and, Kim ends up being this child star. Now, what are things that we hear about child stars all the time now? All the time we hear about these child stars, these Disney child stars, and the things that they endured when they were children on the set. A lot of times the parents have to leave the set. These children are left unattended to, and bad things happen to children all the time. And I think that it's possible some of those things happened to Kim, and she just never got the help that she probably needed because it probably wasn't available in 1970 and 80 and in the 90s. But regardless, she took care of the whole family. And once Kim became a childhood star, her mother divorced the father who had all of the money. That's an important part because she then puts all of the bills, everything on the shoulders of Kim. So Kim continues to work and continues to support their entire household, okay, until she's old enough to get married and go off and be married. So she has a lot of resentment for the fact that she supported them all through their childhood, bought Kyle her first car, bought them their house, and then when it came time that she needed, Kyle was telling her that my husband sends you a check every month, and we, on and on and on. I think it's very, if anyone's ever dealt with addiction in their family and money or inheritances, and you understand it's a difficult situation for everyone. You have people that's trying to make decisions in your best interest, but are they in your best interest? And then if it ends up benefiting them more than it benefits you, then it becomes a resentment. And so my idea of what happened to the house in Palm Springs was probably that Kim was messed up, and so they made some sort of arrangement between Kyle and Kim, and I think they just bought Kathy out of it. So like Mauricio and Kyle made the decision to buy Kathy's share, so that way they had 2/3 share of the house, leaving Kim with 1/3 share of the house. And so they were able to actually make like executive decisions, and they ended up selling the house and like giving Kim probably a little bit every month of what the profit was. And so that's why she said, like, you guys stole my goddamn house. I bought the house, which I don't even know if she bought that particular house because Big Kathy had several homes in Palm Springs, and she used several different men to get them. And in fact, one of their daughters was in the comments of a TikTok talking about how when her dad had bought this house in Palm Springs for Big Kathy, and he paid for the whole home to be remodeled, and they were living there, and shortly after Big Kathy died, and Kim gave him like 30 days to get out, and it was his own house. Here's some comments from oops, sorry guys, let's see here, let's read some comments. We have Groovy. They have other siblings too. Yes, Ben said that. They do. The Richards sisters have other siblings, which is very strange that they never talk about them. We never hear Kyle talk about her other siblings. Her dad absolutely got remarried to a lovely woman who actually was interviewed for the book, Hilton House of Horrors, and she took the interview. She gave us a lot of great content about how Big Kathy was with men, stories of her drugging people, beating a woman up. I mean, like crazy, wild west type of things that you could only hear in a movie. And I think that's why or that's why Kyle wanted so badly to do this series, American Girl, to depict her childhood and make it how she remembered it, right? But it's like they don't want anyone to know anything about their mother. If you guys have noticed that, they don't want to hear nothing bad about their mother, and we get that, right? It's their mom. However, it's like almost kind of unhealthy. Kyle said that she was ill physically for 2 years after her mom died. She said she was physically ill for 2 years after her mom died, and I just thought about her daughters. Like, how do you stop being a mom after that how do you stop being a mom for 2 years after you lose your mom? I don't know. I mean, I lost my mom when I was young, so everyone, of course, grieves different, but I just think they have some sort of, like, I don't even know, like, they idolized their mom, and she wasn't this like amazing human being. Actually, she was probably quite the opposite, and she probably was sick and suffering with alcoholism, and that's probably why, Kathy and Kim and Kyle all, don't think that Kyle can't drink. Like, don't think that Kyle doesn't drink almost every day, because she definitely does. Like, Kim got into hard stuff, and I think that when people have money, it's always okay. They do whatever they want to do if it's, related to recreational, party favors, if you will, right? So I just don't think that, I think that Kim got a little bit more into it than actually Kyle did. And so that's why she's been able to, like, maintain her drinking, if you will, like she's functioning with it, and so it's not a problem for Kyle, allegedly. But Kim, moving on to like harder substances, I think, it took a harder toll. The consequences were harder. The money hit, the divorce, etc., etc. I mean, when I saw photos of Kim, because you guys have to remember, it was like her mother was pimping her out. And I don't want to talk bad about Kathy Hilton, but at the same time, Kathy was also running with Rick Hilton's rich friends, and they were always looking for someone richer for Kim. Like, she married the gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he was on a season with her, and he was sick with cancer. It was her first husband, and I think she really, really loved him, right? She marries him. He has money, but he doesn't have Hilton money. He doesn't have enough Hilton money. So Kathy starts hooking her up with her second husband, I think, who ends up being like the rich one. But if you see these photos of Kim, she looks so young in comparison to like Kathy and these like older men. Because like if she was I think Kathy's significantly older than Kim and Kyle. I'm gonna Google that right now because I want to know how much older Kathy is than Kim. But like these photos of them together, it's just like Kim looked like a little girl in comparison to like Kathy and these grown ass men that Kathy was like trying to hook up with her while she was still married. And in the book, it alleges that the mother and Kathy were supportive of Kim cheating on her husband with Monty. Thank you, Groovy. Monty was her first husband, the one that she loved, the one that had cancer, and she took care of him when he was dying. They encouraged her to cheat on Monty with the gentleman that had more money. So that's what she did. So let's see. Kathy Hilton. How old is Kathy Hilton? We never really hear a lot about her dad. Kathy Hilton is 63. Kathy also was a big time partier. We know that because of the fact that she hung out with the morally corrupt Faye Resnick. How old is Kim Richards? Kim Richards is 57 and Kathy is 63. So they have 6 years between them. And Kyle is 53. So Kathy and Kyle actually have 10 years between the two of them. And Kim has 6 between Kathy. So I'm sure at the age 22, if you're with other men 28, 29, 30, like, it was just kind of sad. It made me feel like they just really had used her for, being a child star, and she was, young and beautiful, and so they really just wanted her to keep getting more and more men with money. And the mother allegedly would go around Beverly Hills bragging about how much, like, she would say how much between the Hiltons and Kim's husband, like with all of their money combined, her kids had over, $1 billion, whatever the case may be. They said she would like go around and flaunt, Kathy being married to Hilton and all of the money that Kim was making and the money that she was marrying. Like those were really important things to their mother. And what I was saying, guys, before was when Kim made it big, Big Kathy left their dad. And so everything, all of the responsibilities, all the bills, everything fell on Kim Richards, right? And she was a kid. So she's going to trust her mom to take care of all of her finances, and take care of her family. And then, when she gets older, the mom dies and she's left with Kathy, who has all of the money in the world. Not sure why Kathy doesn't step in sometimes. Like, why is Kim at Target why is Kim at Target shoplifting a buggy full of stuff, like a couple $100s, when Kathy Hilton is her sister, right? Like, I would be like, Kathy, send your cleaning lady. I'm over here at Target, whatever the address is. Send someone with some money, please. Like, I don't know. I understand why they wouldn't like give her money, like cash or whatever, if they're scared she's like spending it the wrong way. But like if she's at Target buying stuff, like I just don't understand why she would feel like she would have to shoplift that if Kathy Hilton is your sister. Like, come on, Kathy, you got to do better. You got to make sure your family's taken care of, right? The funny thing about Kathy is, we're seeing that. I don't know, guys, if she's what this episode is gonna look like. We've talked about it before. We've set this scene. We allegedly have heard that Kathy uses a racial slur because they're in a restaurant, they're in Aspen, they're drinking, they're having fun. The DJ's playing music. She wants to hear a Michael Jackson song, because Kathy has this Michael Jackson, love. They were friends, right? They had the pact that they would all name their first and oldest daughter Paris. So that's why Michael Jackson's oldest daughter is named Paris. That's why Kathy Hilton's oldest daughter is named Paris. And then one of the Braxton was very good friends with them as well. And that's why her first child and daughter is named Paris as well. So they did have a relationship and a friendship. But Kathy wanted to hear the song. And she, I guess, like the DJ was further away. He was in some sort of a... I don't want to say like a cubicle, but like he had plexiglass around him because of, the COVID. And she was sending the waiter allegedly up to the DJ to make these requests, and the DJ wouldn't play her song. And so she must have said something to the server again about requesting the song. And he got upset, like, I don't know where you think you are, but you're not in LA. Like, I don't even know who you are with all of your privilege. And she allegedly used a slur at him. Filming had wrapped, of course. However, this is where Lisa Rinna comes in because she swoops Kathy out. I've talked about this with you guys before. Renna saw an opportunity. She saw Kathy drunk. She saw Kyle drunk. They're all probably drinking. They wrapped up filming, so they're, letting loose, right? Kathy says that she had been in New York doing press for Paris's wedding, that she had taken several flights. She had a layover. She was in a different time zone, so she was, like, all the way, like, crazy. And I can get that. And she probably took some Xanax and some Ambien on the flight. She was probably messed up, right? So when this takes place, Lisa Rinna, selfishly thinking to herself, I'm going to take care of Kathy. I'm going to swoop her out of here, and I'm going to get the dibs on what the F is going on. Like, I'm going to insert myself in this situation right now because this is about to be big. I know it. I can feel it. So she's like, come on, Kathy. We got to get out of here. Come on. Get your stuff. We got to get out of here. We got to get a car. I'm going to take her. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get her out of here. You guys just stay here. Figure everything out, and I will take Kathy with me back to the house, right? But meanwhile, when they're doing that, Lisa is, like, getting all of everything from Kathy, right? This is when Kathy's going to spill and talk shit about Kyle. She's going to have a weak moment. Lisa Rinna is pretending to coddle her. Lisa's pretending to be her friend. Lisa is saying all of the right things because Lisa knows how to manipulate people. And Kathy is drunk. And she's in a different time zone. And she's tired. She doesn't normally work as in like when people tell her to be somewhere. Like usually Kathy is on Kathy's time. Kathy does what Kathy wants to do. But now Kathy has to do what production tells her to do and where she has to be at certain times and days, etc. It's a big change for a 60-some-year-old lady, right? I think it is for her. But Lisa played it to a T. I can see it in my head. And Kathy being so frustrated about Kyle, the situation, whatever the case may be, because I think they still have a lot of problems within like their close family, as in like Kyle, Kim, Kathy, the daughters, because we don't see them together much at all. Anyways, Kathy's frustrated. She's frustrated about stuff behind the scenes. She's frustrated. Lisa Rinna knows all the players in the game, and she takes a chance and she trusts Lisa Rinna, and she tells her what's been going on between her and Kyle and all of the 20 million reasons that she cannot stand Kyle, right? And she tells them to Lisa Rinna, which is basically like telling the devil, okay? I mean, you're basically making a deal with the devil, telling Lisa Rinna all of that shit. And what did Lisa Rinna do? Lisa Rinna ran with it. She ran with it. She ran with it to production. She ran with it to Kyle. That's why we see this whole scene with Kyle saying, I can't believe that you said all this stuff about me. Like, you're my sister. And that's where we're going to get all of that from. Because it's going to be a drunk Kathy basically spilling her guts about Kim, or about Kyle and their relationship and everything that's wrong with it and all the reasons that they can't get along. They're 10 years apart. It seems very strange that they cannot get along. Yes, there's a dynamic between the husbands, Rick and Mauricio. Mauricio worked for Rick. Then he ended up screwing him, not giving him a 2-week notice, basically emailing him and telling him that he wasn't coming back to work in his office, and then he was starting a new agency, taking people with him, and he would be his competition, and it was going to be called the Agency. Then he proceeded to pop up agencies all over the United States, and now Kyle and Mauricio have like tripled their income like every year for the last 5-6 years, probably. At least. You guys can definitely look that up. When she came on the show, she was shopping at Target too. I'm just saying, I think they had like a couple $1 million net worth, and now they have like an 80 some. I'll Google it right now actually, because I've looked at the numbers before, because it's pretty impressive when you go from like a couple of million to like 80 million out of nowhere, right? Kyle Richards and Mauricio Net Worth. Let's see what it says, guys. How much is Kyle Richards worth on her own? Kyle by herself is worth $100 million. Well, that doesn't sound like the normal average housewife, does it? We know the other housewives aren't worth $100 million. Right? Oh, look at this. April 2022, Mauricio has a net worth of $100 million. Does that mean together their net worth is $200 million? What do you guys think? Do you guys think like they're legit? They worked, like Mauricio worked hard for this money and opened up the agencies? It says how much money these two. Kyle reportedly has a casual net worth of $100 million. So yeah, they're saying that together the both of them have close to $200 million together. That's a lot of money to make. Let's see what Kyle started off with when she started. What was Kyle Richards' net worth? What year did she start? Let's just say 2012, maybe? Let's say 2012. Could they have really made all this money off of just the agency? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. This is listing, let's see what year this was listing her when she was 52, which would have been like, they said she's 56 now, so 4 years ago, 2018, she had a net worth of $20 million. So 4 years ago, she had a net worth of $20 million. Now she has $100 million. So yeah, definitely doubling every single year, if not more. And that could be like give or take, of course. We never know really with what we think that they're worth. Let's see here. I'm trying to find one from like 2012, but it's like hard to find an article. I'll have to do a little searching later. Anyway, guys, I want to know what you guys think about Mauricio and Kyle. I think that's why the men will never make up. Like I said, Mauricio kind of left him high and dry, didn't put in a 2-week notice, just emailed him, also took agents with him, and then started a whole business that basically was complete competition for Hilton and Highland. So I'm sure that Kathy and Rick felt some type of way about that. Of course they did. Of course it caused a problem in their relationship. It doesn't even sound like Kyle and Mauricio tried to go about it the right way. Like, wouldn't you be blindsided if you hired your brother-in-law, took him under your wing, showed him the ropes, made introductions, and then he doesn't give you a 2-week notice, he quits, takes two, three, four of your employees and goes up and opens up as your competition? I mean, that's going to cause tension. I don't think anyone would think that that would be a great idea if you were trying to get along with your sister. They were mad because they said that Rick would never make Mauricio partner. That was the whole thing, that he would never make Mauricio partner, and so therefore Mauricio was like, I'm going to go start my own business, right? Then after they end up like making up over that, they have a huge issue over Kyle and this American Girl series that it was on like a year, I think. It didn't make it, maybe 6 months. Alicia Silverstone was playing the mother. Kathy was not happy about it. Kyle was like running with it like it was a dream come true. It didn't last. Regardless, Kathy and Rick wanted Kyle to quit the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And this was after they went to Italy. This is when Nikki was getting married to the Rothschild. And Kyle was invited to the wedding, but Mauricio was not invited to the wedding. Farrah, which is Kyle's oldest daughter, who has a different dad, she was invited in the wedding, but Mauricio's daughters were not invited, okay? Kathy and Nikki and them, they didn't invite Mauricio or the daughters with Mauricio. They only invited Kyle and Farrah because Farrah has a different dad. So when all of this transpired, we see them take a trip with the Vanderpumps to Italy, and while they're having dinner, Lisa Vanderpump, of course, brings up the wedding, the situation, what's going on, and Kyle clearly does not want to speak about it. We know that Lisa Vanderpump and Kathy Hilton are actually friends. So that kind of makes sense when Lisa Rinna does say, like, LVP could be part of, this whole thing. I don't think she's necessarily part of it, but I do think that LVP probably has a resentment against Lisa Rinna, and I think Bravo has not included any sort of proof of friendship between Kathy and Lisa Vanderpump, because they don't want people to know what good friends they are, because they are good friends. And that also caused a lot of tension in the relationship between Kyle and Kathy, because Lisa was kind of going in between. And when she brought it up and they were talking about it, whatever Kyle said, it pissed Kathy off even more. They wanted Kyle to quit the show. TMZ catches Rick at the airport, Rick Hilton. They start interviewing him, asking him about Kyle on the show, and he says Kyle's quitting the show. TMZ's like, the guy who's taping, he's like, I don't think she's quitting the show, Rick. Are you sure? He's like, oh yeah, she's picking her family. She loves her family. Kyle's quitting the show. She did not quit the show. And he ended up looking like a complete asshole on TMZ Live because they caught him at the airport. So he really thought that she was quitting the show for the family, and she really didn't. And I think she does a lot of moves behind the scenes that we really have no idea about. So I want to know what you guys think, though. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, turn your notifications on, guys. I'm always posting juicy stuff when it comes out. I try to keep you up to date, keep good content rolling, quality content. So make sure you hit that like button. It really helps my videos. Make sure you guys subscribe. I want to know what you guys think about Lisa Rinna. Is she on the chopping block? We can read a couple of comments. Who do you think Patrick Summers is? Like, what is going on in Beverly Hills? What's in the water, right? Agree. All three sisters, always one left out. That was me. Oh, Kathleen. Harriet says, I talked to my sisters, but really strained. I'm sorry to hear that. Harriet says, narcissist mother was set up to unhealthy competitive dynamic, and they are very if they have daughters. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it definitely was a dysfunctional dynamic between the girls and the mother. Obviously, Kim taking on a motherly role, having to support the family. Kathy being an older sister, she was probably at home taking care of the girls while the mother was out doing her thing. I mean, there's a terrible, terrible story in there about Kathy and about the mother basically wanting to teach Kathy how to be a woman and hooking her up with an older guy, and like sending her out into a van to get experience. That's in the House of Hiltons. If you're interested in that book, you can find it on Amazon. But it tells the whole story about the mother wanting Kathy to be experienced with men. And she was like 17, and Kathy found her a nice older man to send her daughter off into a van parked outside of the house to show her how to be a woman. So that's the kind of mother that Kyle and Kim and Kathy had, and that probably will help explain to you why they are so messed up. Just like we're all messed up. Like, we're not judging, but we're saying that you can't say one thing on TV and then expect us to believe it, because we know that that's not necessarily the case. So, like, own it, right? Just own it. Hello, take one from Lisa Rinna's book and just own it, Kyle. You have brothers and sisters that you don't talk about ever. It's fine. We know about them, so it's okay. But anyway, guys, make sure you hit that like button. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Don't forget to watch The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills tomorrow. Might try to pop up and do a live afterwards. So make sure you comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.